Good evening, it's Kristen with Winter Maven Tarot, bringing the Divine Feminines in separation from their twin Divine Masculine counterparts, a reading on the Divine Feminine's relationship with her karmic partner. Now remember, this is not gender specific. We're just going to refer to the Divine Feminine as her for simplicity's sake. I used several different decks. I meditated on the topic beforehand, shuffled and pre-laid out the cards so everything's ready to go here. And I thought I would begin this reading by focusing on the past life connection, what created the karma initially that has us engaging in cycles with our karmic partner now that we may be having a difficult time separating ourselves from. As we all know, karmic partnerships tend to be very intense. They tend to be slightly tumultuous. They teach us a lot about ourselves, but they're rarely easy. You know, they are by design difficult in order to help us learn our lessons. I liken it to having bombs dropped in your life. So the card that I pulled with Doreen Virtue's Past Life Oracle was finances. And as I was shuffling, this card actually jumped out of the deck. Okay, it basically chose itself. And what that told me immediately was money is an issue. You know, and it probably has been since we were children, irrespective of whether or not we grew up affluent. Human beings tend to have a very funny relationship with money, and we tend to fear lack of money. We fear scarcity. We fear not having enough. We fear loss of security. You know, the idea, and this is the Western idea, a big bank account equals success. When you are rich, you should be happy. Poor people are not doing their life the right way. They're not working hard enough. There's this sense of self-worth that's tied into the size of our bank account. And that is very much a Western ideal. Thankfully, we're starting to break away from that a little bit. But karmic partnerships can very much be about sharing a household, sharing a family, sharing finances. And by moving past that karmic partnership, what we, as the rest of the reading reflects, what we are doing is really turning our lives upside down. And that requires an act of faith. And we'll go into that a little later. But going back to finances, twin flame partnerships are really about our twin flame holding up a mirror to ourselves and bringing forth all of those triggering lower energy emotions that we try to keep stuffed away. So when this finance card jumped out, I immediately went to struggling with the sense of lack, struggling with our sense of identity, self-worth, and can I go it alone? Especially if there are children involved, the idea of moving from a two-income household or a household where like your karmic partner, the male perhaps, is providing the income while you stay home and raise children, upsetting that apple cart or changing that dynamic can be terrifying. And fear is enough to keep us locked in place. Fear is enough to keep us locked in a state of inaction. So what I would suggest for this card, and what immediately came to mind after that initial, like, what does this card evoke and what are we afraid of, is to really challenge the fear that you have around money, being able to provide, and what your life is supposed to look like. You know, are you living beyond your means? Are you overextended? Are there ways that you could cut back? Could you honestly, if you were really truly honest with yourself, adjust what your life looks like in order to move forward by yourself with a sense of security and safety, knowing that the universe always has your back and that your leap of faith and trusting in yourself, your abilities, your capabilities, as well as, you know, the universe has your back, but you do have to roll up your shirt sleeves and actually do the work. So engaging in the work that you need to do in order to keep yourself and your household afloat. So moving on to that, I asked the Shadow Twin Flame deck. It's a lovely, lovely deck from Mystic Moon. She's fabulous. I'll put the link below. The three cards that I pulled were non-action, distant, and vengeful. You see a young woman with a hatchet. So I certainly do not suggest going out and getting a hatchet. However, these cards spoke to me. So when we think about fear and we think about upsetting the apple cart, when we think about turning our lives upside down or perhaps breaking up a karmic partnership, this is what keeps us locked in place. It's a sense of being disengaged, disconnected, emotionally perhaps, physically, mentally from the relationship that we're in. Moving from day to day, not rocking the boat, just going through the motions of the relationship in order to keep everything stable. Okay? In order to keep everything status quo, because there's safety in the unknown. And what I found really interesting was vengeful. Okay? Now, when I look at this card, the shadow figure, it's very menacing. I would say beware of the non-action and the disconnect that you have, because that breeds long-term resentment for your partner. So even if they are a perfectly wonderful human being, engaging in behavior or choosing non-action may have you feeling trapped, and in order to cope, you disengage. But what happens when you disengage? You know that you're supposed to have more in life. You know that it's supposed to be a fuller, more joyful experience. You begin to resent and get angry with your partner. So this vengeful energy, those are those lower negative emotions that chew away at us and eventually cause some serious internal damage, emotionally, physically, mentally. I mean, you've heard the term, like, we eat our emotions. Lots of us can be accused of doing that when we're not happy. So we just really want to be mindful, as we make our decisions and whether or not we choose to put into action some plans that help us disengage from that karmic partner, to not let these lower emotions, whether it's, anger, resentment, those toxic rage issues that we might be burying, self-abuse, okay, addiction issues. We don't want those steering the bus, okay? You want to make the decisions that you obviously need to make in order to move yourself on. You want to make those from your highest and best place. So really challenge this emotion, shift your focus, and move those emotions into a more positive, proactive path. Now, from the Mystic Moon Oracle, the Twin Flame Oracle deck, I pulled 3 cards as to how do we best move through this journey with our karmic partner? How do we resolve the karmic circle that we are in? And we got big dreams, recognition, and action. And I found all 3 of these really interesting. It is a fabulous deck. There are a large number of cards in this deck. And these 3 really seem to fit, because we're going from non-action, which keeps us trapped in place, to a call to action. Okay, so we just can't sit back and ride it out day to day and hope that things get better, or that our karmic partner becomes so fed up that they're the one who makes the move. I think what we really need to do is understand that we are worthy of the love that we're looking for, that our twin counterpart does exist. And even though they may be struggling, reunion, I do believe, is inevitable. The cycles of the planet, the cycles of the earth right now, the timing, we're not all going to hit it at the same time. But I think we are all on a journey to get there within this lifetime. So recognizing and honoring that fact, honoring the cycles of our lives, honoring the motion and the timing of our life, and our call to action is to start doing something about it. So I do believe this is about healing, thinking big, moving out of that I just have to get through today mentality, or I just have to get through the next week mentality, or I'll think about this after the next holiday mentality, or let me just get past the kid's birthday mentality. This is about allowing ourselves to stretch and to reach for that which we know is true. Okay? It's give yourself the opportunity to engage in some daydreaming, even to picture what your life would be like with the twin flame. And this isn't about longing for it. It's about raising your vibration. It's law of attraction, raising your vibration and trusting in the inevitability of the union, but releasing your attachment to the why or the how or the when, okay? Because that is divine timing and there's free will all over this. You've got to do the work necessary and you have to free yourself from your entanglements. And the divine masculine has to do the same thing. They've got to have their awakened moment. They've got to realize that they have some healing to do and they need to, release themselves from their karmic partnership that requires work on both sides. So while we have this little bit of time, reclaim your power, reclaim your voice, and reclaim your sense of responsibility in your situation. Recognize that the reasons that you engaged in this karmic partnership were very valid, okay? There were lessons that you needed to learn. There were debts, literally karmic debts that needed to be paid. And now that you're ending that cycle, honor the journey that you've been on. Don't get stuck in the toxic energies around a relationship that perhaps is no longer working for you. Release them peacefully and start moving on to the next big thing. Okay, start moving on to the next big thing. Start laying your plans, laying the foundation for your future growth. Now, I asked the tarot cards about the full journey with your karmic partner, the full journey. And we have the Four of Pentacles, which is a scarcity mindset. I found that very interesting that pulled out, first one. The Knight of Wands, passionate adventure with your divine masculine. The center of the reading was the Seven of Pentacles, which is a reevaluation. The Nine of Wands, trials and tribulations. The Four of Cups says missed opportunity. And then the Three of Cups is about celebration and community. And when I look at this as a journey, this really is a timeline of what pulled you into a relationship and what has you staying and has you in the sense of non-action. This pause, this disconnect really is this Four of Pentacles. It's not wanting to lose any ground. Okay, in the traditional tarot deck, this is a man holding on to his coins. Okay, not wanting to let anything go. But you're moving past that now because once you come in contact with your divine masculine, there's really no getting that cat back in the bag. Once you experience that connection, there's a sense of recognition on your part that this is something larger than life, that this is something very 5D, very spiritual. It's very difficult to go back to a 3D life, status quo, ho-hum, because your soul is going to be craving more. So what comes up for you is this reevaluation and then the difficulty of navigating your life knowing what you know. Okay, but it is worth the work. And the Four of Cups, it says missed opportunity, but for this reading, that doesn't really resonate for me. Four of Cups for me is all about your focus. It's how you're looking at things. It's what is your filter? Traditional tarot deck. This is a man looking at 3 spilt cups on the ground and ignoring the cup that's being offered by the gods, basically, okay? Focusing on the lack, what they don't have, what's missing in their life, versus what's to come. So I do believe that by shifting your focus and working through your difficulties, doing the groundwork, laying the groundwork for moving forward, it brings you into the sense of completion. This Three of Cups, this community, it's surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. It's surrounding yourself with the people who love you and who want what's best for you. Your cheerleaders who remind you of who you actually are when you forget it yourself. The people who challenge you when you get locked into the, I don't want to move because it's too scary. They are the ones who lovingly nudge you and say, you're capable of so much more. So spend some time with your tribe. Reset your frame of mind, your focus, how you're looking at your situation. It'll be difficult if we lose this income. Yes, and you will be able to recalibrate. You are not going through it alone. And you have the love and support of not only friends and family, but also your spiritual guardians, and you have the universe, which has your back. If you do your work, the universe will reward you for it. Okay? So this is a time of really challenging those preset beliefs that we have about money, what it means to be successful, and what security truly means. And it's about keeping your eye on the bigger prize, what's to come in the future, by doing the work, by separating from your karmic partnership, by having a solid plan of how you can trim back your expenses and navigate this on your own without someone who basically is just towing the line and providing the status quo. by doing all of that, it gets you closer to union. It does get you closer to union. I'm going to pull just a few more cards off camera for us. And I'm going to ask the cards, if you do the work and separate from your karmic partner, as scary as it may be to go it alone, especially if you're navigating a household by yourself or, you know, managing children, what is the reward in regards to the divine masculine for doing this work? What is the reward? Okay, so we got sacred space. There we go. Twin flames. This is a confirmation. A twin flame partnership and home. Interesting. Really, really interesting. 3 beautiful, beautiful cards. Now, what I find really interesting about these 3, I was wondering where the cards were going to go, especially with the sacred space coming up initially. We're going to go back to this vengeance card. It's really difficult to operate at your highest and your best energy vibration when you are angry and resentful, when you are bitter, and fearful. Okay? It's really, really difficult to operate in a 5D level when it feels as though you're stuck in the mud energetically. So by doing this work, by having faith in yourself, trusting in the grace of the universe, moving through those difficult emotions and that really deep-seated fear, and I'm not going to lie, many, many, many of us have it. I have it. You know, the idea of separating from a karmic partnership and paying a mortgage by myself is terrifying. And yet at the end of the day, you know it's the right thing to do. So what happens? How are we blessed? The middle card is confirmation. Okay? This is reunion with our twin flame. We are rewarded by having an empty slate, a clear slate, a clearing the deck, if you will, by union with our twin flame. Okay? And what are we guaranteed? What are we promised? What is the payoff? Security, warmth, cozy, warm blanket feeling, love, and exalted energy. So it's worth the work. It is absolutely worth the work. Now, off camera earlier, I pulled 3 cards for you. And these are just 3 messages from your divine masculine to you as you are both working through your karmic issues. The first one is, I need more time to figure things out. And if you're in a karmic partnership, divine feminine, so do you. Oops, sorry. The next one is, please don't take what happened personally. It's not you, it's me. And the last one is, especially if you're struggling to stay in communication with them or if they pop in and out, I can't seem to find the right words to say to you. And I find that one particularly poignant because it's someone who wants to be in communication with you, but they just don't know how to communicate that just yet because the things in their life and the things in your life are not lined up in such a way that allows for open, honest, and intimate communication. So this is about patience. It's about doing the work that you need to do, and it's about trusting in divine timing. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions, and I look forward to meeting with you next time. Goodbye.